Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Hotseat. I am your host, Donna Guerin, and this is Michael and Gilpin. She is sitting in for Stacy tonight. Thank you, Michael, for coming in with me tonight.
Yeah,
We
sorry, Stacey. Had fun.
well, she's in Florida, so she's not doing too bad. But so
Sure.
we were actually supposed to air this show last week, but because of the Super Bowl, we decided to reschedule. But tonight we have Benjamin Young on. He is the founder of. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, cross country paranormal.
Cross country paranormal.
Brain
Cross
went on
country
vacation for
paranormal.
a second. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm like on 2 hours of sleep, people. Paranormal hangover, 2 hours of sleep, so I might be a little loopy.
I
So
got
we
you.
gotta bring, yeah, we're gonna bring Ben in and see what's up with him. Hey,
Hey, ladies, how you doing?
look good. How
Good,
are
good.
you?
I'm good.
Look good. So, what part of the country are you in?
I'm actually. It's funny you say that. You're Stacy. You said is in Florida. That's where I'm at.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she had a family thing down there. So yeah, she's
Are,
in
are
Florida
you in
right
the
now.
good part, Ben, or the crappy part?
I'm in technically the good part until Hurricane Ian hit it. I moved down here 4 days after the hurricane.
Oh,
Oh
So,
wow.
luckily, everything was okay where we're renting. But it's
mhm.
I like the good part because we're on the Gulf compared to the Atlantic.
Yeah. I went to Lake Wales, a school in Lake Wales, Florida. So
I think that's
Okay.
where Jim Andre is, Michael. I think
yeah,
he's
he
in Florida.
is, which was
Yeah.
weird because we're talking. I'm like, oh my god, I went to. So one day I'm going to go out and visit him and visit my alum as well.
Hey, it's a fun
Oh,
place
cool.
to visit. There's always something to do down here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
there
never
is.
been to Florida. My sister was just there recently. She went to it says Palm Beach, Florida, but yeah, she
Palm
Mhm.
brought
Beach.
me back Palm Beach, Florida.
Yep.
She brought me back a T-shirt.
Palm. I haven't heard of. I'm playing.
Yeah, my niece is there, so she went to spend her birthday there. So good for her.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
it's nice to know that our kids can do something nice for us when we get older. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
yeah. So you have a a lot of experience in the paranormal field. So you had Oakland Paranormal. How long did you run that organization, or did you actually run it? Did you found it? How? Tell me about
So
that one.
Oakland Paranormal started back when I want to say like Ghost Hunters was in their heyday. I went like 2007, 2008.
hmm
Um, and believe it or not, before that, and I think a lot of us that got into the field later in life, I was terrified of the dark growing up. Like the dark, the basements. Like I would not go in the basement at my grandma's house. I got creeped out by cemeteries, everything, and then something triggered me to really explore on what is out there beyond what we can see. So in I want to say 2007 that I formed Oakland Paranormal with one of my closest friends at the time and was able to really break into the field starting with, I hate to say it, but it's been years ago, sneaking into cemeteries, sneaking into buildings and
hmm
going from that to having family members and family members of friends saying, hey, we think something's going on at our house, can you come check out our house? And obviously the more I've been in the field, the more I've learned. If I investigated the way I do now that I did 15 years ago, I don't think I'd be anywhere right now. So Oakland Paranormal was a 4 to 5 year project. And then until about 2 years ago, I was kind of just hopping around doing my own thing because I I have to find a team, or at the time, I had to find teams that I truly like meshed with because I don't want to just investigate for investigating. I want to actually have fun and get along with everyone I'm with. And
And have
then,
good food.
what's that?
Oh, she left. And you got to have good food. Anyways, continue. Yeah.
Yes, you got to have good food. So it's just now with cross country paranormal. I had the concept
My
of
stupid Wi-Fi. Sorry.
no, it's okay. Mine did that a couple weeks ago. So with cross country paranormal, it's one of those nationwide teams where, hey, why do I need to limit myself to the people that are within 30 minutes of me? And I've been able to
Mhm.
network pretty much across the world. We have a team member in Scotland. I have a team member in Ohio, Montana, Iowa,
Oh, nice.
North Carolina. Like we're pretty much spread out everywhere.
That's cool. Cool.
It's very cool.
So what did I miss? Sorry.
Oh,
So
just I
go ahead.
talked to him about food.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's not unusual.
we got sidetracked talking about food, and then we went back to paranormal.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I
What's
was
the
looking
most
at your.
unusual thing that you've ever experienced or captured? I'm curious.
So experienced. I I did one time see what people would refer to as the lady in white, and
Oh,
it was kind of like a deer in headlights moment for me. I had
yeah.
no equipment. I wasn't even investigating really. I was on a public hunt where it was kind of like guides to bring people around and
Hmm.
hey, who's brave enough to go on this floor by themselves? And I'm a little cocky, so I'm like, sure, I'll do it. So I go onto the floor and I'm looking up and down the hallway. Then all of a sudden, this lady in this 1950s white hospital gown, no shoes, brown hair. I could see every feature on her face and her body.
Brilliant.
Just walked across the hallway from one room to another. And
Hmm.
I froze. Like I wasn't afraid, but it was kind of
Hmm.
that, like, did I just see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a bat flew across my face, and that brought me back to it.
Wow.
So most interesting thing I ever captured was probably poltergeist activity at a former funeral home I investigated up in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
And we
wow.
were able to capture doors opening and plywood that was leaning against the wall lift up and drop back down and bounce off the wall. And at that time, we
Wow.
weren't even actively investigating. The only reason I caught it is we had a radio host doing a quick live stream checking in with the team, and on his live stream he captured the evidence.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was looking at your website, and you started investigating paranormal because you lost a family member, and I guess other
Mhm.
family members was seeing this person and hearing this person. How
Yes.
old were you when you started that?
When I lost that family member, I was 17, and
Okay.
I was 18 when I started Oakland Paranormal.
Oh, wow.
And that's what, so that's the little part that I think your computer froze on, that me being afraid of the dark, afraid of basements and everything, that's what kind of really made me want to look at the other side. Was I had family members seeing this family member, and it was someone I was really close with. And I'm
Mhm.
like, hey, I'd rather see them on my own than kind of wake up in the middle of the night. It'd be like a horror movie, someone standing over my bed.
Right.
So I kind of look at it, at least investigating, it's on my
Mhm.
terms for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
okay. Sorry, like some other
No, it's
brain
okay.
fart.
Paranormal
Okay,
hangover.
she's.
Paranormal.
Do you want to talk after, Ben? She's got a message for you.
Oh,
Yeah. If you don't mind talking after, that's fine.
Nope. I just was making sure.
Okay.
so
There's a couple of things. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's cool because your wife is actually involved in the paranormal, even though you said she's kind of take a back seat to it. So, I mean, when you guys met, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm into that too. How did that work? I mean, you guys, did you meet on doing an investigation or something, or it just worked out that you both are interested?
No, she actually did nothing with the paranormal prior to me,
Oh, wow.
and saw that it was something I was interested in. And then I introduced her to, the shows I enjoyed watching, or the episodes I enjoyed watching. Because I think every team that's, made it big has their good moments, has their good episodes, their true to the heart paranormal episodes.
Hmm.
So I introduced her to that. And I think the first investigation she did with me, if I could remember correctly, was out in Montana. Because it was right after the Ghost Town of Terror came out, and the family who owns that ghost town out there and myself are really close. So I went out there to help them hold a public paranormal event, and she went out there with me as well. So within her first investigations, it was Gunslinger Gulch, the Dumas brothel, and the old Montana prison. So
Oh,
it
Oh
was
wow.
kind of like, hey, I'm
wow.
just going to push you in the deep end right away.
There you go.
I
So
want to do prison.
yeah, it was a great time. And she's a fan of it, she loves doing it, but it's still, when she sees me doing the 3 to 4 events in a row or flying across the country to do it, she's like, you got it, you do your thing.
Do you have any paranormal investigators that you look up to, or have had mentorship from, or any shows that have inspired you to do what you do as well?
So shows, I want to say, you know, the big two back in the 2007, 2008 timeframe was pretty much Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. And they both are opposite end of the spectrum of how they investigate.
They really are. Yeah.
And there was a lot of things I liked about both of them, that there was always trying to debunk it in one episode and then the next episode trying to challenge it. So I looked at it as, you know, hey, is this Hollywood or is this real? And I kind of started, the more I did it, the more I could watch a show and kind of learn different techniques learn the equipment, learn how to build the equipment. And, you know, shows, the longer they're on, the harder it is for them, I think, to stick to the roots, because you got to find ways to appeal to the masses and everything. And I get that. I'm not dissing any shows that are out there.
Right.
But if I were to pick one right now, I'd have to say probably Nick Groff would be one of the ones that I follow pretty well. And then I follow Destination Fear, because
I love that show.
I love that show.
and I've talked to a lot of location owners that have worked with them. And I've talked to a lot of location owners that have worked with like Amy Rooney, Chip Coffey, stuff like that. And a lot of my things is when I get to know these location owners, if they respect these people that have come in, done the episodes and done their location, then I have respect for them. But if it's somebody who comes in and films for an hour and says, oh yeah, we were here for 12 hours investigating everything, then I pretty much stop following whatever team or program that is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is it a show that you watch like now? Is there a show that you watch now, and how much of that show or any particular show now do you think is BS, and how much of it do you think is actually, this could be actually happen, but, or do you think that they're staging some of this stuff? What's your opinion on that?
So honestly, all of the shows that are, you know, current, there's everything from, you know, Ghost Brothers, Ghost Adventures, Destination Fear, Paranormal Lockdown, Portals to Hell, everything. What I think part of the stuff is if it's a location that we all know, we come across locations and nothing happens, it's not a guarantee for activity.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I think that when people are filming for these shows, it's sometimes a overreaction to where the best example I can give is there's an older location I was in, and pebbles would fall from the ceiling to the ground, and it would sound like rocks were being thrown. So it's, in real life, you're like, oh yeah, that's a ceiling. But when you're watching the show, it's, oh my God, something's throwing things at us. Yeah. So I think it's all about perspective. Do I think these shows fabricate something? I think every show, every big YouTube, TikTok, Instagram influencer has had a moment where they said something happened and nothing happened.
Yeah.
But I do believe that at the core of all these people who have made it big, they made it big for a reason, and they had a passion for it. So I you know, I'm happy for them and I'll always support it. But when it gets to your head and it becomes more about the show than the actual investigating, then like you said, that's when I'm out.
I'm done. Yeah. They were talking about, like, where we were last night, it was the Bullion Plaza down in Miami, Arizona. And I guess the guys from Ghost Adventures had been there and did an investigation there. And he was telling us some of the stuff that had went on. There was a desk that was in the hall where the drawer supposedly had opened up on its own. And we went over there. We were like, okay, well, let's, you know, pull on this drawer to see if it's something that opened easily, and it didn't. And Tom was like, yeah, that actually happened. They didn't fabricate that. I was like, okay, but yeah, it just wouldn't easily open. You have to actually give it a little bit of force. I didn't see that episode. You know, I'm not crazy about one particular show, but anyway, needless to say.
Yeah. I actually, I'm pretty close to in Globe, Arizona, the owner of the 1910 jail and the 1916 train station, Molly.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, we're going there in a couple of weeks.
I was supposed to come out there in this month, but I think because, you know, the cost of everything skyrocketed, it's hard for people to travel anymore for events. So her and I are communicating and trying to plan something different, maybe a live stream or something, just to get those locations back out there.
Yeah.
But no, I talk to her pretty regularly too, and I'm excited to get out there when I can.
Yeah, we're going. That's what I said. We're going over there on the 4th, which is where we were last night. Where's actually pretty much up the street from where the jail is.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to go there, and then we're going to where the 18th. Oh, we're going to Gleason, which is down by Tombstone. We're
Okay.
going in March 18th, so we're going to do that. But yeah, that'd be great. Oh yeah, because you're the one that was like, yeah, let me see what I can do about the Yuma Territorial Prison.
Yeah, so I like to pride myself, and my team will back me up with it, that the places that are a little bit harder to get into, I take it as a challenge. Right now I'm currently waiting to hear back about Alcatraz, and I had Dracula's Castle scheduled, but then that war in Ukraine broke out, and I was like, it's a little too close to home.
Yeah.
So with Romania being right there,
right.
So stupid war.
But we do have the contact information to whenever I want to do something there, that I could have that whole castle.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yes.
I hear Alcatraz is expensive to try to get in.
We pitched it as a private, that we'd probably do live stream or kind of a documentary style, because to pitch it as an event, yes, it becomes very expensive. And that's one thing that we kind of focus on, is there's the locations that want to bring in the crowd. So we'll ask the location, well, how many can you bring in without stepping on each other? Because the last thing we want is to bring 50 people to a location that's 100 feet wide.
Right.
So what the places that want to bring a crowd, will work with them. And when we do an actual event, our ticket prices are a little bit higher than, let's say haunted rooms might be like $50 a person, but they'll have 50 people there. We might do $100 a person, but only have 10 people there. So we try and focus on giving people the actual experience of investigating and the training and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then when it's a location that's too small to really do anything, for example, the Monroe House in Indiana, you only can have maybe 6 people there and you won't contaminate each other's evidence. So we'll do like a live stream, or we'll do a live check-in, be like, hey, what do you want us to record here so we can get it out on YouTube later?
Well, you have a friend in me here now, so if you want to collaborate, we can definitely do that.
Well, we'll have to, when I get a little more time, to have to put together for you.
Oh, he's stuttering.
Yeah, I was okay. It wasn't me that time, so you kind of froze.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So what did you say?
We'll have to put our heads together for Yuma.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I definitely want to get in that place. So so you actually train people that are looking to get in the paranormal field. So do you travel to train people, or are you collaborating with people in other states to get the people trained? How does that work?
I do most of the travel. Hence why I get paranormal hangover all the time. So I don't want to mention how much I've spent on gear, but I probably have enough gear to supply up to 20 people at an event. And I have everything from the SLS cameras to portals to the what's that called? Ovulus, everything like that. Yeah. Because I want people to have a chance to get the hands on and see, because one person might like the Ovulus, the other person might not. So what I try and do is give people the roots, because everyone has a different style of how they investigate. So at least show people like, hey, this is what you do for an EVP. You do 3 pictures in a row when you want to take pictures. Yep. For video, if your stomach growls, call out, that was my stomach. Just the bare bones. And then I kind of just take a step back and let them make it their investigation.
Yeah. Michael likes the SLS herself.
I do.
Al Travis said he's learned a lot from you, Ben, and the rest of the team. That's awesome.
Yeah, Travis has been, I want to say it, like 4 investigations with us so far.
Oh, awesome.
And then Marcy said, I'd love to hear your history of the paranormal.
So Marcy, her first investigation ever was with us at a former funeral home in Ohio. I've done a few funeral homes. And she's like, if I hear my name, I'll be happy. And then before the end of the night, through the spirit box, her name came through.
Oh,
and
wow.
right before the show started, another investigation she came to with us, she just sent me a message saying, I'm doing evidence review. And we have people help us with our evidence review, because as you guys know, it takes a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm reviewing for this one location, and I heard my name again.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, when I first went out with our founder and administrator, we were at a cemetery. It was my first time going out with him, not shortly after I met him. And we had the SLS and we had the Ghost Box. And I actually heard her name. I don't think she heard it at the time. I was like, "Hey, did you just hear that? Somebody called your name." She was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it was kind of cool to me because, like I said, I've been on ghost tours. I never actually went on any investigations until as far as a professional level until I got here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was actually pretty cool, and I've got some great EVPs as well. So, but haven't seen anything yet. We were last night. We're at the top level of the Bullion Plaza, and Eldon says we get some activity at the other end of the floor. They on the cameras they were seeing shadow figures. Well, saw maybe one or two shadow figures. We go down there, nothing, and we're standing there. And I take my little video camera up there, and we set it up, and we're doing the EVPs, and we've got the cat balls out, and just nothing. And of course, after we leave, they see another shadow figure.
Yeah, that's how it works. I had a shadow figure at Randolph Infirmary in Indiana, and I was in the basement. We didn't capture this on camera, but it came out of a doorway and kind of like lurched over into the ground, and you just hear me on camera go, "Nope, I'm going upstairs for a minute." and came back down, and then we started getting the shadow movement on camera. We started getting the growls, the scratching on the wall. It was a very, very active night, but on top of it, there was a massive storm going on. So you've got the rain, you've got the electricity and everything.
Yeah, it's firing up all kind of activity.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, we were so Ben and the team were fantastic. We did our first investigation with them and about to do another. That's awesome.
Yeah, Brian and his wife are coming to. We are doing Old South Pittsburgh Hospital and Harriman Hospital in Tennessee in 2 weeks.
Oh, I love Tennessee.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're going to St. Albans Sanatorium in May, the end of May.
That'll be a great time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that 2-night investigation. We're going to stay at the location for 2 nights.
So did you do the 36-hour one that they had?
No.
Okay.
Actually, the guys over in North Carolina, they're the ones that arranged it. Robert and Brian with PD Region.
Okay,
they actually arranged it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that because I was like, now how am I going to get all my equipment on the plane? I'm going to have to check everything. Then Elder goes, do you really think you're going to go without me? No, we're going to rent a car and we're going to drive.
That's going to be a heck of a drive. I actually bought those lightweight Pelican cases so I could ship my equipment with me if I fly somewhere.
Will you be at Wildwood and Hinsdale?
Yes. I'm also doing Wildwood and Hinsdale, and I believe it's the end of June. We have those scheduled.
What exactly is it? A locations?
Yeah, so Wildwood is a former sanitarium, but it was kind of one of those caring ones, not the lobotomies left and right type ones. Back in the day, it's a smaller location, and about 2 hours away from it is the Hinsdale House. The Hinsdale House had a exorcism performed in it in the 1970s. Wow. And it was built on top of a Native American burial ground, and the area saw battle during I can't remember if it's Revolutionary War or Civil War, but there is a lot of history to the property. And Hinsdale is one of those locations that the moment your anxiety picks up, the house will latch onto it. It is one of the trippiest experiences I've had there. But it's very small, like I'd say 6 people or less. But the owner is a great guy. He truly cares about the location. And he's got security cameras set up everywhere. And you can actually, at the end of the night, that if you want to pay, I think it's only like $75, you can get all night's film sent to you. So he also sent you all the security footage, and he has QR codes throughout the location you can scan and get the history.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Can you confirm if there have been, because I'm picking up 2 suicides, have there been suicides there?
I don't know the exact documented history outside the exorcism and the Indian burial ground, but I will say there is a heavy female presence, but it's like not a happy one. And then there is I forgot what it's called, but it's a Native American spirit,
Yeah, I'm
non-human.
getting male and female. I'm getting two.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd have to go over my evidence, and I could send that over to you of what we found there and everything. But there was, if the word topa rings any bells, we just posted the video on it with a few of the clips we got a few weeks ago. So
Okay.
I'll have to get that over to you after the show and everything.
Oh,
I
cool.
apologize. Sometimes when people talk, because I can do remotes as well, all of a sudden things will come. So
No, it's
I didn't
okay.
mean to interrupt because it was just. Anyways, go ahead. I apologize.
Okay. No, I like the winging in and just throwing stuff out there. It keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
I tend to throw stuff.
Oh yeah, it's interesting being in a restaurant with her. We go out to eat, and she's like, "Well, his grandmother is following him, or he's also watching her." And I'll look at her like, "Oh, here we go."
Hey, that could be a new paranormal reality show, just from the opposite end of the spectrum.
Well, that's what that New York. Who's that girl? The New York lady.
Oh, I think
Long
it's
Island Medium.
The Long Island Medium.
Long Island Medium.
Yeah, I don't. There's very few times I'll go up and say, "You know what? Your dead father's following you. Do you want a reading right now?"
You should. You might get some looks.
She has done it.
But it's very few. Most of the times I'll be just like, "There's an Indian sitting over there, Native American. He's upset about his, nothing I can do about it."
Where was it? Was it we were at the going? Did we go to the I think it was the YMCA in Globe, and we were
Oh,
at
that
the
pizza
restaurant.
place.
Yeah,
Was it that
the
pizza
place and the waitress.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you were talking to her about her grandma.
Yeah, I'm like, she won't shut up. So I got a message for you.
That's all right. As I said, it could be a new reality show.
There you go. Just
That'd be
follow her
fine.
around with a camera.
Yeah.
We could talk to Ellen about that. Next time Michael goes out to eat, start a rolling because you never know what's going to come out of her mouth.
Oh, we know
Probably
that
make for
anyway,
good TV. Stupid. Oh, I almost said the F word.
Uh-huh.
I stopped myself.
So tell me about your podcast. What's the name of it, and where can somebody watch it?
So it's Beyond the Afterlife. I could post a Facebook link and everything. It's on Facebook, YouTube. We do it through StreamYard and everything. And
cool.
what it is we just change the topic every week. And it's my lead investigator and myself. And we go in really with no scripts, no anything, and just know the topic we want to talk about. So last week was the history of the paranormal. And she found documentation of a tablet, like a written in stone tablet from 3,000 years ago that shows depictions of spirits.
Holy crap.
So we kind of started the show with that and ended to modern times. And next week's or tomorrow's episode, I should say, is how religion, like we were talking about before we started, affects the paranormal. And that's whether you're Christian, Catholic, Hindu, Muslim, whatever it may be, on how it affects whether you want to be a paranormal investigator, how you view spirits, how you view energy. And we try and do topics that once in a while, at least, that are a little sensitive, because we want to make sure that, people aren't afraid to talk about that stuff. And that's what I like about this field is typically everyone you meet in this field, we're very open-minded with the kind of discussions we're willing to have.
Yep. Yeah. I was talking
Yeah,
to
I've been dead twice now. The second time, very odd. I was literally a ghost, I guess, or a spirit. Visited my friend's house, visited my family, told them when I woke up, told them what the doctor had said in the waiting room. They're like, "How would you know that?" I'm like, "Because I was there." Hello. So I love your title, Beyond the Afterlife, because, when people often face death, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to die alone." And you're not. You might be alone in the room, but your soul is always around people who love you and your guardian angels. So anyways, I love your title of your show. Anyways, continue. I apologize.
No, you're good. And it's just to make a joke about that too, is I've always made the joke of, we all talk about karma. Karma's going to catch up with people. Well, if someone really pisses me off, that I'm just going to haunt them. That when it's my time, and it's not going to be a polite haunting, it's not going to be a little knock on the wall. I'm going to find people's biggest fear, and I'm going to be that person So I know somebody who's afraid of like rocking chairs doing their own thing in the corner.
That's
And
funny.
I told them, like, well, just don't get on my bad side because I'm just going to stand there and just move that chair all the
That's
time.
funny.
I told my nephew, I said, I'm going to haunt you and we're going to have a spiritual water fight, just so you're aware.
See, that's what I mean. You can have fun with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my sister said she would. Who did she say she would haunt the Chippendale strippers or something?
Mm.
Do I want to know how that would go?
I think she said the strippers or a strip club or something. We were joking around about who would you haunt, if you came back, and I think she said the strippers or the strip club or something like that.
Chicka bow wow.
That
Hey.
Chicka bow wow.
It's a thing.
It could be a thing.
so
We're
okay,
so
so
weird.
well, okay, so you there's so many aspects of the paranormal. So do you like believe in cryptids and UFOs and skinwalkers and all of that stuff as well?
I would be gullible to say I don't believe any of that. So being in this and what I made it a point to myself when I formed Cross Country Paranormal is not to be closed-minded to anything.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. When I see pictures of Bigfoot and they're still blurry and it's 2023, I question it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I look at it as scientific facts of there is 98% of the earth that scientists have not explored yet,
Oh yeah.
and there is 99.999% of the galaxy that we cannot reach and have not explored. So I tell myself there's stuff out there we'll never know in our lifetime. There's stuff we'll never see, never hear of, heck, that our kids and grandkids will never hear of.
Yeah.
And it's not a hobby I pursue when it comes to UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, stuff like that. But it is things I am curious about. The most I went off track with straight line ghost hunting would be probably Native American lore and Egyptian lore, because I feel like depending on the location you're at, that can come into play. But don't get me wrong, I have an iPhone, and if I come across Bigfoot when I'm in the woods one day, I will get a good picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you keep it in focus? It's a freaking phone.
Especially
Exactly.
with and now we got the government shooting down these unidentified crafts, and it's like we're being invaded.
They're balloons. They're balloons.
Oh,
It's
all of them were balloons.
It's Mork from Orc coming down in a white egg.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Nanu, nanu.
Well, I mean, the government has come out and has talked about aliens. The government has talked about, in their own way, throughout history, paranormal spirits. We talked about it on our show a few weeks ago, Ashley and myself, that people claim to see Abraham Lincoln's ghost. So there has been stuff that the White House, the spirits in the White House and everything, and it's all out there. It's just if people want to decide to listen or not. And we being in this field have a little bit more open mind to see what's around us in different ways, just like kids. So kids don't know the difference until they get corrupted by everyday life, the news and that stuff. So kids can see a lot more than we can. Well, most of us. So right now I'm pretty much open to anything, and believing that we're shooting down balloons. Sure. Yeah, sure. We'll stick to balloons.
Yeah. Shooting down the balloons. Well, I think it was one of them. They actually admitted it was a craft. It was like, okay, so where do we go from here? What's going on, people?
Well, then something else happens to distract everyone to that. So,
oh yeah, it's always going to be something.
Yep.
Well, let's get their mind off of this, and let's say that this is going on, and
exactly.
But I was talking to a guy the other day. I'm trying to think. I don't know I don't remember which group it was in. I don't know if you know him now. Wild Bill. He goes by Wild Bill.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I think he said he's an ordained minister. He's been in the paranormal field for like 40 years. Very, very, very intelligent. We talked for like an hour. We just did a video chat, and he was telling me about some of the stuff, and that he was actually willing to come on my show maybe like once a month to just talk about spiritualism and the religion and just all kinds of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. He's going to come on March 5th, I believe it is.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of stuff that he's dealt with. It's funny because in his room, he's got all of this horror stuff, these masks and like this prop from the movie The Gremlins and just all
Yep.
kinds of stuff around. And I'm looking at him like, this guy's a minister and this is
Mhm.
really nice guy though. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him as
That's
well.
awesome.
Yeah. So we're brain fart. Okay. So anyway, your podcast is on Mondays.
Yes.
Is it every Monday?
Every other Monday at 8:00.
Oh, okay. Every other Monday. Yeah, going on once a week can be a little exhausting.
Yes, we're trying. We have a lot of wheels turning right now with the team and everything. So we're trying to keep up the podcast and not be like, oh, we have to reschedule. Oh, we have to reschedule.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't do it. So we stuck to every other Monday. And if the demand's there, we'll pick it up more.
Yeah, that's the good thing about us going to Roku, that we don't, of course we won't be going live, and then we can just record whenever. We don't have to stick to a weekly schedule.
Right.
Yeah, so that's going to be great. And I drew a blank about what I was about to ask you.
So I have a question. When you talk to your ordained minister, here's a food for thought, and it's something we're going to talk about on our show tomorrow. Is the stereotypical story of possessions is the devil can jump into anyone, that anyone can become possessed. But technically, if you look at the Bible, you look at religion, that Lucifer is a fallen angel.
Right.
So he technically is still a cut of God. And I have a million different beliefs. I'm not talking to it like I don't identify as a certain religion.
Sure.
But with Lucifer being a cut of God, you cannot be possessed by an angelic entity without giving permission. So every demon that is cut from Lucifer is still cut from a piece of God. So all of these movies of something can just jump into your home and jump into you is false. That's where the manipulation comes in, like The Exorcist, let's say, the planchette flying off the board, the ticking on the wall. It's they break you down to get you to open up for that possession. But it's something we're going to talk about a little bit into more detail. But I think it'd be an interesting question of asking, how does a possession happen compared to what you see on TV, what you see in Hollywood and everything?
I think he said he's done one, or he's been involved in maybe like one. And he also told me too, where I found something interesting, because he asked me if I was religious, and I was like, well, yeah. I'm
Ish.
not saying I'm not, ish, right? Religious ish. And he asked me, he said, well, when you think of the mark of the beast, he said, what is it that you think? I said, well, if they say 666 is the mark of the beast. He says it's actually 616.
I think I've heard of that. It's ringing a bell. I just can't remember where I've heard that from.
I was like, really? Yeah. And of course he explained it, and I'm drawing a blank. So, but yeah, so I'm definitely want to talk to him more about that.
I think oppression occurs more than possession.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because people, I've been oppressed, and is actually at an event that I was at. I helped did a kids camp back in the day with a psychic medium, Michelle Manny, who was Native American. And because of me being a psychic kid, and anyways, long story short, I was in my hotel room, and my roommate noticed something was off, something was wrong. And I just was like so angry, and there's no reason for me to be angry. And I was crying, and no reason to be crying. And so one of the kids, a kid, told Michelle, she's like, I think something is trying to get inside of her. I think that's part of the oppression, that it's like right next door and feeding you energy. The kids got it out of me. And I was relieved, but because of doing all the work with the kids and everything, I forgot. And by the way, I'll have to get the hotel, because you might want to go there. A lot of stuff. It's surrounded by rose quartz.
Where's it at? What state?
It's in Colorado.
Okay.
I forget exactly where, but I'll send you, because it's an amazing hotel surrounded by rose quartz and water. lot of things that went on there during that time that we were also teaching the kids as well. So, when I see somebody, or if I go to a residence or even an investigation, I'm looking to see how that energy or how that is affecting everybody, because we never know where we're going to have to step in and say, ground yourself, think of something different, do whatever you need to do. But yeah, I've never seen, except on TV. I've never heard, or I used to be in the news. I was a news director. We never had, people calling up and say, I've got a kid that's possessed and I think it went wrong. Can you put it on the news? We've never had that,
I think too, it comes down to, for my view. So I'm not religious. I believe in heaven. I believe in hell. Again, with what we talked about a few minutes ago, we kind of have to believe in everything in this field.
Right.
Yeah.
I look at it as my investigative style, and anyone who has investigated with me will tell you, is willpower. So
Yeah.
I am one of the most stubborn people when it comes to investigating, where if something's trying to pick and pry and poke at a location, I'll stand there dead weight. It's like, okay. And I'll invite it, like, come do what you need to do. Like, don't bother my team. Don't bother other people here.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, my willpower is going to outwill whatever I run into. And the fun thing is just dark humor. I carry a lot of trauma, and that typically that a negative energy feeds off trauma. So I'm like a walking buffet for some of these things. I use it to my advantage of, see, we're back on food. I use it to my advantage of, okay, see what you can do to me, because it's not going to work. And I've had people at the Dumas brothel, the lead investigator that helps investigations there. He lives there. He does the Dumas brothel all the time. In the middle of the investigation with him, we sat down, he took a break, and he looks up at me and he goes, "Something is seriously wrong with you." And I'm like, I know. He's like, no, seriously, like, this place does not act like this. I don't know what it is, but something is wrong with you. I'm like, again, I know. I told you this in the beginning of the night. So it's fun. It's fun for people who investigate with me.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I have a question, Michael. You said this place is surrounded by rose quartz. What's the significance of rose quartz?
Rose quartz is a conductor, like limestone.
Okay.
It's a conductor for spiritual activity. The more limestone and the more rose quartz that you have and water around an area, you're going to have more activity.
Yeah, I know that
because it's a conduit. Yeah, it's a conduit.
Okay.
So think of like old prisons that are built with limestone. That's where you get some of the very active old prisons, asylums, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So since we presume that aliens do exist in our galaxy, do we feel that they are a threat to humanity? Good question.
No.
Some are, yes. Some are.
I agree and disagree, because I think we as people are more of a threat to ourselves than anything else.
Well, look at our history. Hell, the wars and
So hey, if the aliens have a button to make the planet disintegrate in a split second, I'd rather have that than World War III. So it's picking the worst or the best of the worst.
worst case scenario.
Yeah.
We were there's a lot of down in so Globe, Miami. My sister's researcher, one of the researchers on the team, and I get my family involved. And she found this extensive history on like the violent past of stuff that happened with Native Americans down in Globe, and with the building itself, because the building that we were in last night used to be a school, but there's not really a lot of tragedy at the school itself, but he thinks that a lot of it is attached to the property and not necessarily the school itself. So so that was pretty interesting to learn. He said that the school at one point was segregated. It was all either Native Americans and Hispanics. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I actually asked another investigator about haunted schools one day, and I said, "Why are schools so haunted?"
Because
obviously today there's stuff that happens at schools every week, but back in the day, I'm like, "Why are schools so haunted?" and he made a good point. He goes, think about kids going through puberty, the anger, the bullying, the just the energy that is put out, and there's a lot of negative energy that's put out that draws, like you said, the land that draws things into that location that might have never been a part of that building, but because of the negative energy in the air, it's, I'm going to use my term again, a walking buffet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess there was a big influenza outbreak too, as well. And then a lot of people lost their lives with that. So that was also around in that area. I was like, okay, so that explains it, because, you know, they're like, well, there's children. And it's like, okay, so kids died in the school. So what the hell? So, yeah.
They're like, what the hell? What's going on?
Yeah. It was like, why are kids haunting a school? But yeah, it was an interesting night. But
Yeah.
Well, cool. Okay. What else you got, Michael?
Oh, me? Well, let's go back to the aliens. The alien
here we go.
question.
Oh, okay. Here we go. So interesting.
So
view.
here's
Okay,
my.
I agree.
wait.
Hollywood always paints the image of that we're coming to attack Earth. However, where's the proof of that? And then just like where there's proof of alien abductions taking place. So there are a lot of people talking about alien abductions, that they've been abducted. One of our guys in Parafam, he has a tattoo that he was abducted, and when this tattoo appeared on his arm, and that not only does he have this tattoo after he was abducted, it actually changed.
Huh.
Yeah.
I
Yes. So
go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, okay. I do believe, because of what I experienced as a small child, but there are abductees, alien abductions, crafts, things like that. Existence of aliens, yes. I also collaborate, I can't tell you who, as a remote viewer, that I've seen good and bad aliens existing as well, you know, in certain parts of Alaska and New Mexico. Let's just leave it at that. So things do exist. They're coming to more fruition, because I think what's happening is, because of the paranormal and our views on aliens, they're becoming more aware. I mean, we've had more alien sightings within the last year than I can even remember. Out here, just in Phoenix alone, since I've been here, I've seen 3 UFOs. It's very active out here. And I joke because I'm like, well, maybe the guy in the alien, control room said Mars, and they got Earth instead, and they're trying to find bars.
Yeah.
So aliens trying to get drunk on Earth, but that's just me.
So Eddie Griffin is a comedian, in case you don't know who he is. He joked around in one of his stand-ups one day that we always hear about aliens flying over. We don't hear about them landing, because they talked about it. He said the Earth is on the fucked up planet tour. It's like we fight among ourselves. So what are we going to do with them if they?
Like I said, I'm more worried about what we're going to do to each other than aliens.
Exactly.
Oh, definitely.
So you still get cussed out by the spirit on your investigations.
Oh, we get cussed out all the time.
Yes. So I have an attachment. He's okay, but we know it's him because that's what he does. He and typically you listen for key words. I won't say them on air, but that's how we narrow down who it is. And typically, the funny thing is, he comes out when things start taking a turn for the worse on investigations. So Hinsdale that I was bringing up, he didn't come out until the house really started coming alive. When I did the Monroe house, I actually mumbled under my breath for him to go with my teammate. My teammate was starting to get followed at the location. And I would hear him come through my teammate's spirit box, but not mine.
Wow.
So it's just one of those, it's one of those fun things. It's kind of the little hat trick I have. So if it's quiet night, and people are like, we want something to happen, I'm like, wait a minute, I can get something to happen.
I got someone for you.
So then I'll pull out the spirit box and here you go.
Yeah, we've been called names, and I get called a puta and an asshole, and so yeah, it's pretty funny. Do you feel that aliens are more sophisticated than us humans? Also, Would you say that they are part of a galactic family or the aliens and unknown species?
Okay, well,
I think they're more. I mean, Japan is more sophisticated than us,
Oh
so
yeah, it's China too.
so it's
oh
not
my
that
gosh,
hard to be more
very,
sophisticated than us right now. So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I haven't done. I'm just answering from the random knowledge I have. I haven't done much research on aliens, UFOs, and everything, but my research comes from Men in Black. So let's just throw that out there. So to
Yeah,
me, Will Smith is an alien hunter.
yeah. I don't think aliens eat with forks, so I'm gonna go with not really sophisticated, but more engineering, talented, high-powered people. Not people, because that means they're people, but aliens. Okay.
But technically, we could be the aliens. I mean,
True.
whoever
Oh,
you ask.
that's true.
Well, funny you say that. Um, so when
It's
I
fun.
was when I was 4, I told my mother I was not from here. I'm from a star seed. I told her I was a star seed. I didn't know what that was at the age of 4. This is would have been in 1908. Um, 1968 for those that are counting years. Okay, that puts me at an old age. Anyway, so 4 years old, and I'm also a twin. I go up out of the blue. I told my mom, I said, I'm not from here. I'm a star seed. So later on, I found out what that meant. And it's from, there's many star seeds, but I'm from a planet or an area called the Palladians. And I knew where it was. My friend Michelle Manny did a planetary study. She's since passed, but there are books out there with her stuff. I picked up a book not knowing, and I flipped through the pages, and I said, I'm from there. And there's a tone that she gives. I heard the tone and immediately identified it as the sound of where I was from. I've had odd things happen all my life, even medically now. I'm still having odd things happen. And that's what happens as a star seed or Palladian. And people are like, well, how did you get here? And it's like, that I'm not sure of. I know my parents had a contract somehow, but it's been that way since a young age. So that's why I believe that there are aliens among us. There are people who are part that, very gifted, just, from star seeds to new people that are just now coming in at a very young age, like 9 years old. They're awakening to their gifts and learning what I call light language and light power, which is part of that new cycle of being in 5D. Which,
Well, I'd like
yeah,
I'd like to challenge, Michael and anyone with the aspect, and I know we don't have too much time to dive into it, but it's something I've done a little bit of research on is not just aliens, but multiverses. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Marvel fan. I mean, Marvel has made it a common thing,
I love Marvel.
but I do too. But the theory of different dimensions, multiverses, stuff like there's
yeah,
some people that I know that when they investigate, they talk to the person like they're standing in front. Not did you die here? They ask, do you live here?
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
they look at it as there's a veil between our multiverse and another multiverse, and it's not a spirit; it's another person. And just
very
like
much
you
so.
talking to them, they're trying to talk to you.
Hmm.
That's
So
interesting.
that's what I would challenge, Michael in is, he seems passionate about aliens and UFOs, which is great, but look into the concept of multiverses as well, because there could be, another Earth that's the year 4,500 that obviously is way more advanced than us and
Hmm.
more technology than we have, but it's just a fun concept to look into.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Yeah. Hmm.
I totally agree with that. That there's, when I tell people about the veil, even people that are in hospice care, I'm like, you're just one breath away from talking to your friends and family. It's not that, people think that their life is over. It's in some ways it's just beginning. I'm not sure what goes on in there, but when I do connect with people, there are people that have had jobs across the veil. And they're like, why does my family member come through? And I said, probably because he's got better things to do than come back to you and tell you how you feel, to be honest.
It's too funny.
You
Japanese
know?
are part of the human race. What I meant is that they are part of a solar system or galaxy that operates totally separate from ours, but are still a part of the universe. Just think we as humans have access to wireless communication technology. That's kind of sort of what you were just saying in a way.
Yeah, and like I said, I know we don't have
Operates totally separate.
this could be in an episode in itself talking about aliens and UFOs and
Mhm.
everything. At the end of the day, technology from 1990 to 2023 is what, that's 33 years. That how much it's grown in 33 years compared to
Oh
300.
yeah.
Right.
So
I went
you know,
somewhere last night.
it's not, it's possible that there's stuff out there. And me being a paranormal investigator, that's my specialty, is spirits,
Mm-hmm.
paranormal, you know, the afterlife. So UFOs, I'm not writing off. I'm interested in it, but I have very, very limited knowledge. So I don't want to give any answers of something that I'm not, you know, too
Right.
understanding on.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Well, I call all aliens Paul because I just want them to beam me up. Because we're stoked in the fire.
Paul is a simple name.
Have you ever seen the movie Paul?
An alien named Paul?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul. I love Paul. We're stoking the fire.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right, guys. Well, we're coming up on our hour. I just so appreciate you, Ben.
Yeah, no problem.
I know Michael wanted to chat with you backstage, so we're gonna.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in and for your questions and comments. We really appreciate it. And then we are going to go out. We'll see you guys next week. And let me get my outro video here.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much.